You just closed the tab. Your heart is racing. Your hands are shaking. And now you're staring at the ceiling, asking God to forgive you for the same thing you swore you'd never do again. 5 minutes ago, you were someone else. Now you're back to being you. The you that hates yourself. The you that feels dirty. The you that wonders if God is even listening anymore. You open your Bible. You pray. You make promises. Big ones. You say things like, "This is the last time. I mean it this time." But deep down, you already know. You've said that before. 100 times before. Let me tell you about someone. Maybe you'll see yourself in him. Let's call him Daniel. Daniel loves Jesus. Like, really loves him. He grew up in church. He knows the scriptures. He leads worship sometimes. People look up to him. His friends think he's got it all together. His pastor asked him to help with the youth group because he's such a good example. But every night, when everyone's asleep, Daniel fights a war nobody knows about. He's got accountability software on his phone. He deleted social media apps 3 times. He prays every morning. He reads his Bible before bed. He does everything right. But somehow, it's never enough. Because the thing about this struggle is, it doesn't care how much you love God. It doesn't care how many verses you memorize. It finds you when you're alone. When you're tired. When you're stressed. When you feel like you're not enough. It started small. Daniel was 14. Just curious. Just one time. He didn't think it would become anything. He thought he could stop whenever he wanted. That's what everyone thinks. But it didn't stop. It grew. Slowly. Quietly. Like a shadow that gets longer as the sun goes down. At first, it was once a month. Then once a week. Then more. And every single time, the same cycle. The same pattern. First, there's the trigger. Maybe he had a bad day. Maybe he got into an argument. Maybe he's just lonely. Maybe nothing happened at all. Sometimes the feeling just shows up out of nowhere. Then comes the thought. Just a little whisper. It'll help you feel better. You've had a rough day. Just this once. You can pray later. And for a few minutes, he fights it. He really does. He tries to distract himself. He scrolls through something else. He prays. He quotes a verse. But the pull gets stronger. The more he resists, the louder it gets. Until finally, he gives in. And for a few minutes, it works. That's the trap. It actually works. The stress melts away. The loneliness fades. The anxiety quiets down. His brain floods with dopamine. He feels something. Relief, maybe. Escape. Comfort. But the second it's over, everything crashes. The guilt hits like a truck. His chest tightens. His stomach turns. He feels dirty. Ashamed. Disgusting. He can't even look at himself in the mirror. He closes his eyes and prays, "God, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'll never do it again. I promise." He means it. Every word. In that moment, he really believes he's done. He thinks, "This was the last time. I felt how bad it was. I'll remember this feeling. I won't go back." But 2 days later, he's back. And the cycle starts all over again. As time goes on, things get worse. Not all at once. Just gradually. Like a slow leak you don't notice until everything's flooded. He starts avoiding church events. Not because he doesn't want to go, but because he feels too guilty to show up. He thinks, "How can I worship God when I did that last night?" He stops praying as much. When he does pray, it feels hollow. Like his words are bouncing off the ceiling. Like God isn't listening. Or maybe he is, but he's disappointed. Tired. Fed up. Daniel starts pulling away from his friends. They ask him to hang out, and he says he's busy. They invite him to Bible study, and he makes excuses. Because being around them makes him feel like a fraud. They think he's this strong Christian. If they only knew. The content changes too. What used to shock him doesn't anymore. He needs something more to get the same feeling. And that terrifies him, because he never thought he'd be the kind of person who'd go that far. But here he is. On Sundays, Daniel sits in the front row. He raises his hands during worship. He smiles. He hugs people. He says, "I'm blessed, man. God is good." And he's not lying. He does believe that. But inside, he's screaming. Because he's living two lives. There's the Daniel everyone sees. The one who loves God, serves others, and has it together. And then there's the other Daniel. The one who hides. The one who lies. The one who feels like he's rotting from the inside out. He's terrified someone will find out. Terrified his pastor will ask him the wrong question. Terrified his friends will check his phone. Terrified that one day, God will expose him in front of everyone. He thinks about it constantly. What if they knew? What if they saw? Would they still love him? Would they still respect him? Or would they look at him like he's broken? Like he's too far gone? There's a guy at church named Peter. He's older. Probably in his 40s. Married. 2 kids. Solid guy. The kind of man Daniel wants to be one day. Peter always checks in on him. "Hey, how are you really doing?" Not the surface level, "How are you?" The real kind. The kind that makes you want to tell the truth. But Daniel never does. He just says, "I'm good, man. Just trying to grow closer to God, you know." Peter nods. Encourages him. Prays for him. And every time, Daniel feels worse. Because Peter believes in him. Peter thinks he's a good kid. Peter has no idea that Daniel is barely holding it together. One time, Peter told him, "You're gonna do great things for God, Daniel. I can see it in you." And Daniel wanted to cry. Because how can you do great things for God when you can't even make it through a single week without falling apart? Then one night, everything breaks. Daniel is lying in bed. It's 2 a.m. He just fell again. And this time, something inside him just snaps. He doesn't feel guilt anymore. He doesn't feel shame. He doesn't feel anything. Just emptiness. Like a black hole opened up in his chest and swallowed everything. He looks up at the ceiling and whispers, "I can't do this anymore." Not in the, "I'm done trying" way. In the, "I don't think I can be saved" way. He thinks about all the times he's prayed. All the times he's confessed. All the times he's promised God he'd change. And he wonders, what if God is tired of me? What if he's given up? What if I've used up all my chances? He grabs his phone. Opens his Bible app. Scrolls through verses about forgiveness. About grace. About mercy. But none of it feels real anymore. It all feels like words. Pretty words for people who aren't as broken as him. He thinks, maybe this is just who I am. Maybe I'll never change. Maybe I'm too far gone. And for the first time in his life, he genuinely wonders if he's even saved. But then something happens. Something small. Something he almost missed. He's scrolling through his phone, and he sees a message from Peter. Just a random text. "Hey man, been praying for you today. Don't know why, but I felt like I should tell you. You're loved. God's not done with you." Daniel stares at the message. And something cracks. He doesn't know if it's God speaking through Peter or just coincidence. But it doesn't matter. Because for the first time in months, he feels something other than shame. He feels a crack of light. A tiny sliver of hope. He sits up in bed. His hands are shaking. And he does something he hasn't done in a long time. He prays. But not the usual prayer. Not the, "I'm sorry, please forgive me" prayer. This time, he prays the truth. "God, I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I've failed 1,000 times. I feel like you should be done with me. I feel like I'm too broken. But I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to keep hiding. I don't want to keep pretending. I need help. Real help. I can't do this alone." The next day, Daniel does something terrifying. He texts Peter. "Hey, can we meet up? I need to talk to you about something." His finger hovers over the send button for 5 minutes. His heart is pounding. His mind is screaming at him to delete it. Don't do it. He'll judge you. He'll be disappointed. He'll think less of you. But he hits send anyway. They meet at a coffee shop. Daniel's hands are shaking. He can barely look Peter in the eye. Peter sits down, orders a coffee, and says, "What's going on, man?" And Daniel breaks. He doesn't plan to. He was going to ease into it. Say something vague. Test the waters. But instead, everything just pours out. "I've been struggling with something. 4 years. And I don't know how to stop. I've tried everything. I've prayed. I've deleted apps. I've put filters on my phone. But I keep going back. And I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like God's given up on me. I feel like I'm a hypocrite. I can't keep pretending I'm okay when I'm not." He's crying now. Full-on tears. In the middle of a coffee shop. And Peter doesn't flinch. He doesn't look disgusted. He doesn't pull back. He just nods. And then he says something Daniel will never forget. "I've been there." Daniel looks up. "What?" "I struggled with the same thing. 4 years. I didn't tell anyone either. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was too broken. But I wasn't. And neither are you." Things don't magically get better after that. Daniel doesn't wake up the next day completely free. The struggle doesn't disappear. He still has hard days. He still falls sometimes. But something fundamental changes. He's not alone anymore. Peter starts checking in on him. Really checking in. Not the, "How are you?" kind. The, "How are you doing with your struggle?" kind. The kind that makes hiding impossible. Daniel starts going to a recovery group. It's awkward at first. Uncomfortable. But he realizes something. Everyone there is fighting the same fight. And none of them are pretending anymore. He learns how to recognize his triggers. He learns how to ask for help before he falls, not after. He learns that freedom isn't about never struggling. It's about not struggling alone. Months pass. Daniel still has bad days. Days where the pull is strong. Days where he feels weak. But he doesn't carry it by himself anymore. He texts Peter. He calls a friend from the group. He prays. And when he does fall, he doesn't spiral into shame. He confesses. He gets back up. He keeps going. One Sunday, he's sitting in church. Peter's next to him. And during worship, Daniel realizes something. For the first time in years, he's not pretending. He's not hiding. He's not living 2 lives. He's just him. Broken. Struggling. But not alone. And maybe that's what freedom really looks like. Not perfection. Not never falling. But finally being honest. Finally letting people in. Finally believing that God's grace is bigger than your worst day. If you're listening to this and you see yourself in Daniel, I want you to know something. You're not too far gone. You're not beyond saving. And you're not alone. The shame wants you to believe you are. The guilt wants you to keep hiding. But that's the trap. Because the more you hide, the stronger it gets. Freedom doesn't start when you stop struggling. It starts when you stop hiding. So maybe today's the day. Maybe today's the day you send that text. You make that call. You tell someone the truth. Not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to stop fighting alone. You're not who this thing says you are. You're who God says you are. And He's not done with you yet.